As a deer hunter, I want to know all I can about America's favorite big game animal. That's why I became a deer farmer. Without deer farms, we lose our greatest resource for research and whitetail management. With them, we gain more knowledge than ever before. Join me as we discover the truth about whitetails and meet those who work every day to preserve this great species for future generations. My name is Keith Warren, and this is Deer and Wildlife Stories. Today's Deer and Wildlife Stories show comes to you from the beautiful hills just outside of Logan, Ohio, where we're at the Bone Factory. Now, we were here 12 months ago showing you some of the biggest yearlings on the planet. 12 months later, we're going to show you how those giant yearlings are now some of the biggest 2-year-olds you've ever seen. Welcome to the Bone Factory. I've been coming out here for so many years that I can't even begin to tell you, and I look forward to it every single year. You know, the best analogy I could give you is kind of like if you're a sports fan, odds are you look forward to find out what the draft picks are every year. Well, for me, I'm not a sports fan like that, but I am a deer fan. And so I look forward to coming out here every single year to see what the deer are doing from one year to the next. Every industry, I don't care what industry you look at, every industry has somebody that's on the top that stands out for many reasons. And here at the Bone Factory stands out. It's on the top. Let me tell you a couple of reasons why. Billy and Mitzi Sage and their heart and their passion for the whitetail deer.
Hi, I'm Billy Sage of S&S Whitetail Galore, also known as the Bone Factory. We're located in Logan, Ohio, the Hocking Hills. Currently, we have approximately 500 deer on the farm now. Mitzi and I have been raising deer for 20 plus years. Gosh, we've raised thousands of deer. The best part about being a deer farmer is hanging out with the coolest creature that God has ever given us. Yeah, Mitzi and I, we spend, countless hours every day with the deer in the pens, checking deer. Wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I'd say the biggest challenge in deer farming is record keeping. Without a doubt, record keeping. You know, it's just like any other business. If you don't cross your T's, dot your I's, it's all for nothing. Keep your record straight. You're going to be dealing with the Department of Ag, you're going to be dealing with the state. Just make sure that you have everything in order. It'll all be good.
All right, behind us we have a breeding chart. These are the fawns that they've got in the pens right now. And Billy and Mitzi watch virtually every fawn get born, so they know who the mom and the daddy is. But you as a buyer, if you're gonna buy deer from Billy, I mean, taking his word for it is one thing, but getting a certificate to prove who these deer are out of is very important. So tell them what you do.
Well, basically, we know what fawns are born. We know the sire, we know the dam. I mean, we're hands-on. But when the customer comes, he purchases an expensive animal. We DNA register it through NADAR. That way they don't have to take our word. It's DNA registered all the way.
Record keeping is essential, and it's for that reason that deer farmers all over are using GMS software. And now there's a new product made by GMS that actually is a new app. You can put it on your iPhone, and when you're in the field, you can enter the information, come back to your office, and it just downloads from your phone right into the computer. It's called Fieldmaster. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by the North American Deer Farmers Association, New Dart, the North American Deer Registry, Beam Fence Company, WinADeerFarm.com, the Texas Deer Association, Newport Laboratories, Game Management Systems, Shock Effect Maximizer and SeaCal, Deer Guardian Misting Systems, BuyMyDeer.com,
Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics, and by Record Rack Deer Feeds. Today's show is brought to you in part by BuyMyDeer.com, your online source for monster whitetails.
All right, well, I've been looking forward to this for a year since I left here last time, and I look down there and I think there's so many big bucks in here. I don't know who is who, so tell me about this.
Well, you got Is So Easy there.
Wait a minute. That's the same deer that we got last year on film?
Yeah, you're talking about pressure. He was a nice yearling. That gum.
I mean, look at him. How wide is he, Billy?
I don't know, he's probably 27, 28 inside with the flyers. I don't know, he's probably, heck, 35, 36.
And how many points you think he has?
Oh, man.
I mean, he's beautiful.
70.
He's got more points than we got fingers and toes, I'll guarantee you that.
That ain't no joke.
Holy smokes, Billy, he is beautiful. And to think that's the exact same deer that we filmed last year.
Absolutely. He was, I don't know, 23, 24-inch yearling, you know, on width and a little over 200 inches.
Well, he was beautiful last year. I mean, and
Yeah.
let me ask you this. When you have a big yearling, okay, how do you feel that they're going to do at 2?
Well, you just breed the best you can, put the biggest on the biggest, put the best pedigrees on the best pedigrees, and I mean the chips are going to fall just the way it is. And
but I look at him, I'm thinking you knew when he was a yearling that he was going to blow up, but I didn't, and I knew he was going to blow up.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. We were expecting a 300-inch 2-year-old, but to get 500 inches.
Yeah, he more than doubled in size.
No question.
I mean, he's supersized right here at the bone factory.
Yeah, and he kept a great look. I mean,
okay,
just an awesome look.
Okay, so I mean, he's beautiful, but he's also in here with some other really, really big bucks. Now, last year, Masterpiece, I mean, we were just talking about him a little while ago. I was just mentioning, last year, Masterpiece was simply beautiful. And who's that deer right there? He's got big old long brows on him.
That's Masterpiece.
Really?
His sire, Southern Express, I still think Southern Express is the most prolific yearling ever. I mean, I've never seen one like him. So you would hope that in dream that you'd take Southern Express and produce something like that would equal Southern Express at 1, and my goodness, at 2, there's one deer I've seen in the industry with brows like that, and that's Max Bow Ranger, but it took him several years. You're looking at a 2-year-old with 17, 18-inch brows. I mean,
that's unbelievable. But okay, but you're talking about Southern Express. Southern Express is also the sire to that first buck.
That's right.
It's so easy.
Here's the 2 things we found out about Southern Express. He produces 2 types of deer. Big ones and bigger ones.
Well, I am blown away with the jump these guys did between 1 and 2. I want to see your 3-year-olds this year, because I know we filmed them at 2, and I want to see what kind of jump that those guys made between 2 and 3.
Right. Well, we got a few serious breeders in that bunch, so we'll go check them out.
Let's go.
All righty.
Trevor from Georgia writes, I'm a longtime fan, Keith, and just want to say thank you for standing up for all hunters and deer farmers. There's so much misinformation about deer farming, and it's nice to see someone like you on the front lines educating both hunters and non-hunters. Keep it up. Trevor, thank you. You know, it's not very often that you actually get a positive email. And what I mean by that, we'll get 100 negatives for every 1 positive. So Trevor, I really appreciate that. You know, the whole purpose of Deer and Wildlife Stories is to tell the truth about deer farming. We want to encourage more people to learn about the whitetail deer. And the whitetail deer farmers are on the front lines of education and for people that want to know more about deer. And we're on the front lines as far as conservation goes for years down the road, because of our love of the whitetail deer. Trevor, thank you very much for that email. Today's program is brought to you by the Texas Deer Association. Closed captioning for Deer and Wildlife Stories with Keith Warren is brought to you by Keith Warren's Texas Hidden Springs Ranch. Becoming a deer farmer is a whole lot easier than you may think. And the reason why is because we're going to be setting somebody up as a deer farmer absolutely free. All you need to do to find out more information and to be able to register to win a deer farm is go to our website at winadeerfarm.com. All these are 3-year-olds?
Yep.
Sure enough?
Yes, sure are.
Well, I look across them all, and the first thing I'm looking for the smallest one. And then I look for the biggest one. I'm going, you know, they're all big. But I'm looking at all these deer right here were on the farm last year?
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
Yes,
I know
sir.
that we filmed quite a few of them last year, because you have so many big deer. It's hard for me to kind of, to follow them all. But I look at this one right here, 737. He is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, he's sort of a dream cross. He's shadow on blue 37, and that's just putting legend on legend.
Well, yeah, you can't go wrong. I mean, anybody in the deer industry knows they've heard of shadow, and the Bone Factory was built on shadow. I mean, no doubt about it.
That's right.
And so, and then blue 37. I mean,
Yeah.
Enough said. If you've gone to any deer auction or looked at any sale catalog, you go through it. Blue 37 on the biggest, most valuable deer. It's going to go right back to blue 37 too. So.
Yeah, we've been blessed. I tell you, Shadow. When you say Shadow built this farm, that boy built this farm.
I'm telling you.
All of those deer you see there, Dynamite, Danger Zone there.
Yeah.
Every one of them have Shadow in the pedigree. They're all 30 plus inside. Just got the look, got the score. Just phenomenal.
And I look at it, it blows my mind. I've been coming here for years. And every year I come, I say, well, I don't see how they can get any better. And then they get better. And the reason why is because of genetics. I mean, it's just genetics. There's people that think that sitting here looking at these deer, I know that people at home that aren't in the deer farming business got to think, well, you're pumping them full of steroids or something.
No.
That's not it.
No,
I mean,
we just
pumping them full of genetics.
That's right, and we keep them fat. We keep them happy. We take good care. Our deer husbandry. We try not to get complacent with that deer husbandry. So many people, will buy high-end genetics, and they think, okay, I've got it. This is going to do it. I'm going to have a group of deer like this. Next thing you know, they're not cleaning their waters. They're just not tending to their animals. It's just not good deer husbandry. So you got to have it all. You
do have to have it all. And in looking at any farm, not just here at the Bone Factory, but any farm that has got big deer, I'm telling you, the animal husbandry is a huge part of it. Here's the thing that gets me. Today, we're taking care of the animals better than we ever have, ever.
No question.
I mean, we know more about animal health and nutrition
that's right.
and how, I mean, when the animal's off, when we say off,
no question.
we know when he's not feeling right or she's not feeling right. We know that something has to be done. And so animal husbandry is something as an industry, we challenge ourselves to learn more about it all the time.
That's right.
All right, so that deer right there,
yep,
that's got to be Joshy Boy.
That's Joshy Boy.
Okay. Now, folks, Billy and I, we did a deal here. Look at Joshy Boy really, really good and figure out what he scores. And what I want you to do is come to our Facebook page and tell us what you think he scores. And look at him really, really good. Because what we're going to do is the person who gets closest to Joshy Boy's score, all we're going to do, Billy's going to cut the horns off every single deer, antlers, off every single deer on the farm. And Joshy Boy will have his cut off soon. And Billy will have the score. The person who gets closest to the score, Billy's going to ship them Joshy Boy's antlers. So how's that for a cool deal? So look at Joshy Boy really good and let us know what you think.
Now it's time for the Beam Fence Minute.
There's an old saying, you get what you pay for, and that's true whether you're dealing with deer genetics or whether you're dealing with a fence. And as far as fences go, I want to point something out that different people use different construction methods to put their fences up. Some guys put up fences that'll last a lifetime and more, and some guys put up fences that, well, in 10 years you're going to be repairing those fences and probably rebuilding them because they weren't done right. So what you have to do is you have to keep in mind that you get what you pay for and everything, and fencing is just one of those deals that when you deal with Mark Beam, Mark has decades of experience. He has a list of references as long as your leg. He has the most sophisticated equipment that he's come up with himself. He's got patents on this stuff that fence contractors all around the world, including fence contractors over in Australia, are using Beam Fence Company products. And that just gives you a little idea about Mark Beam. But you get what you pay for and everything. Like I said, whether it's deer semen or deer fencing, you're going to get what you pay for. Take a look at this deer, look at its legs, and somebody may think, well, that deer ought to be dead. And I think shame on you for thinking that, because as somebody who loves animals, like every deer farmer, we do everything we can to keep all of them alive. And this little one right here, just as sweet as all the other ones, and it deserves an opportunity to live too. I mean, you know, I look at this and I think we love animals, and every deer farmer does, and it's our job to do all we can to keep them all alive. Now, in the wild, a deer born with a birth defect like that would certainly perish. I mean, in a matter of hours, more than likely. But on a deer farm, especially on this deer farm, that deer, when it gets older and healthier, big and strong, it's going to have surgery to fix that problem, and that deer will live a long, healthy life. All right, I can look at the bodies on these guys and I can tell they are 1 year old. I mean, boy, there's a bunch of them, and I mean, you've got a bunch of nice ones in here. I mean, but the one thing about it, holy smokes, who is that right there?
That's a little yearling that last year it was Masterpiece. This year we got Thunderstruck.
His name is Thunderstruck. What is he, 7x7?
He's 7x7 and reaching for a 8x7. Been doing this a long time. And to have a frame like that with that pedigree, well, we're Thunderstruck.
Well, okay. Well, what is the pedigree?
He's freeze frame, and everybody knows freeze frame. On Express, on what I think is the greatest frame of all time, Sundowner's Mama.
Unbelievable. I mean, so he's got the blood, but holy cow. I mean, what do you think that deer right there? I mean, he's got the look. He's got He's got everything. So you're kind of comparing him to what we could have compared Masterpiece to last year.
Absolutely. The pedigree lined up. It built a little different than Masterpiece, but gosh, he's got those beams that go out there, you know, just got what I call the freeze frame beams, the freeze frame upside, and you got so much power there in the middle with Express. Well, Sundowner's Mama, she produced the only buck I know of to ever have 36-inch beams. So she's holding it all down.
Okay. Well, I look at all these other ones in here too, and I question. I mean, this is I'm wondering, when do you make the decision whether you're gonna keep him potentially as a breeder, or whether you're going to just go ahead and get rid of them? Because when you get rid of deer, a lot of deer that you get rid of are breeders for other people.
That's
They're
right.
just not breeders for you.
That's right.
So at what age, I mean, when I'm looking at these, I mean, you've got some exceptional ones. I mean, you've got Thunderstruck as a toad, but there's other ones in here that, I mean, they're not really that big.
That's right.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the deal. We had a buck last year that was basically, you call him a 4-point, but he was basically just a spike split. This year he's, gosh, I don't know, 24, 26 inside, mid-30s outside. At the end of the day, every deer you see out here has a fantastic mother, all 300-inch plus genetics. So there's no way you count a yearling out. So next year is when we'll make the cut.
At 2 years old, you'll make the decision.
There's going to be some out there that's not that big, that may be bigger than the biggest yearling in here. Big yearlings make big 2-year-olds. Little bitty ones sometimes make the biggest.
Well, I've always been a believer that the most valuable deer on a deer farm, when you do it right, like at the Bone Factory, are going to be your younger deer.
That's right.
And I'm saying, okay, well, you got some unbelievable older deer, Sudden Express, and, you know, I mean, all these other beautiful deer that we've looked at, but really and truly, the biggest deer, the future, lies right here.
That's right.
With the younger deer. And then it goes back to really not just these 1-year-olds, but also the fawns, the babies that you've got in the pens, the babies that you're bottle raising. That really is the best blood that you've ever produced.
Absolutely.
Okay, give them a phone number again.
It's 740-569-4063.
Boy, these are some pretty deer. I can't wait to see Thunderstruck at 2. I mean, if he's doing that at 1, at 2, he's going to be just like, well, look out, 2-year-olds.
He better be.
The life of a deer farmer is full of challenges and full of rewards. For Billy and Mitzi Sage, deer farming is not only their life, it truly is their passion, and it's evident to anyone that knows them. The Bone Factory, as they call it, is special not only because of the world-class deer, but also because of the world-class people. If you have any questions or comments about the show, log on to our Facebook page or just shoot me an email. I'm Keith Warren, and thanks for watching Deer and Wildlife Stories. What you're about to see is graphic in nature, so viewer discretion is advised. Last August, many of Texas's deer farmers were forced to kill hundreds of perfectly healthy deer in order to test them for chronic wasting disease. To date, approximately 600 deer have been killed, and the killing isn't over. What's worse is that out of all the deer that were killed, not a single one of them tested positive for chronic wasting disease. I don't know about you, but to me there's just something wrong with the picture when you start killing perfectly healthy deer to test them to make sure they're not sick with chronic wasting disease. Now, CWD has been around for over 50 years, and I'm a believer that CWD, it needs to be managed from science-based management rather than from a political agenda. And I think that we ought to learn from states that have been battling CWD for more than 50 years, and they themselves say that there's nothing they can do to manage it. What they need to do is just monitor it. So again, I think that we ought to base our CWD stuff all on science and not on a political agenda. If you'd like to find out more about chronic wasting disease, let me encourage you to go to the website cwdmyths.com.